Hey, what is up, guys? It is your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at Arteezy's Alchemist, and I want to show you guys a lot of the ins and outs of the pro scene. You know, I want to show you what makes these players so dang good, because, you know, a lot of the time you watch the game, you're on Beyond the Summer, you're like, damn, Twitch chat is flaming the heck out of Arteezy. Maybe Arteezy isn't actually that good. It's just not true. It's just not true. It's just not true. You know, regardless of the fact if he has a bad game or not, there's a couple things you have to know. His opponents are the best players in the world. He's one of the best players in the world. And therefore, when he makes a mistake, it's more often than not the opponent's putting him in a bad scenario rather than him making a huge mistake. Of course he makes mistakes. He's a human after all. But nonetheless, I'm going to break it down, show you guys how you can become a better carry player, be more like Arteezy, and show you that if you do the things that Arteezy does, you will win your games. Because a lot of people, I hear this mentality going around. It's like, you know, if it happens in an 8K, 9K, 10K MMR game, it doesn't apply to my match. They're completely different. It's a completely different... No, it's not. It's Dota. The reason why they're in their bracket is because if they played against a 3K or 4K, they would smack them in like 80 to 90% of games. If it was a stack of 5 of them, it would be 100% of games. So the first thing I'd like to cover is the laning stage and how he casts Acidic Spray, the best spell in Dota. How do you use this spell correctly? Well, it's very important to note, and not only important to note, but also to copy. Something you also want to do is copy the link down below and paste it into your search bar. It's going to bring you to the greatest website of all time, GAMELEAP.com. If you go sign up right now, alright, it's a low cost, give it a shot. There's a refund policy if you don't like what you see. If you don't like the videos your boy Speed puts out there daily, right? New videos, not YouTube videos. They are there, but new videos every single day that's going to help you guys improve. You can get your money back in a month, right? Literally, it's that good. It is that good. We know you're going to love it. It's one of the, now I'm getting into like one of those sales pitches. I know you're gonna love it. Alright, nonetheless, let's get back into the game. I want to talk about Acidic Spray and why this spell is so good. So I mentioned in yesterday's video, and I talked about the top 10 best level 1 spells in the game, but how do you actually use it to make it one of the best spells in the game? Because people make it seem like it's not that good. So, when you enter the lane, here's what you want to do. You want to use Acidic Spray. Number 1, you can use it to secure CS, which I don't know if that's why he casted it there exactly, but somehow it secured him the last hit. To be fair, it does do 20 damage right away. They buffed that. And so it secured him the CS. Then you can see Fly is going to gale him in the acid. And if you and your teammate have any sort of coordination, or you just communicated that, hey, when I cast acid, I need you to stun them. When I cast acid, I need you to slow them. You will win the lane. You will win the lane. Just look at it. Because this reduces their armor. Phoenix will drop to like -2 armor. -3 armor. He cannot trade. If you look at his resistances, it's -13%. -13%. He's taking more than pure damage per auto attack, including from creeps, which is insane. So yeah, he just gets completely bullied out, and it allows the Alch to get a free wave, right? And so he has 3 CS in the first wave. Obviously, you know, humans are not perfect, so he's still going to somehow miss a couple of creeps. It is what it is. CS lull. You guys can see us lull him. But over and over again, you're going to see Arteezy constantly putting on the pressure with the acid. They know that the Phoenix does not have dive. This is a very heads-up play. So they hit him up with the Gale, hit him with the acid, and against most players, that would be a kill. Now, the Phoenix being very good, Leslau, gets out of it, right? He TPs out. But all in all, you know, you can see this is the difference, right? This is the difference between Arteezy and most players. How many players do you think would cast acid twice in 1 minute and 30 seconds? Honestly, guys, like, be very real with yourself. How many times have you casted, you know, this mana-intensive of a spell in this short of a duration? You know, most people just wouldn't, because they don't know the exact best time to do it, or they hesitate. They're like, oh, this isn't going to guarantee me a kill. It's not going to get me first blood, so I'm not going to cast it. I swear, that's a lot of people's mentality. If the spell won't get them a kill in that exact scenario, in that exact situation, then they won't use it. But it's all about shipping people down. It's about forcing resources and bullying people out so you can guarantee CS and so on. So that's exactly what he does, and you'll notice, even in a scenario like under tower here, he often will acid the wave. He will actually shove it further under. Now, in this scenario, he doesn't. What I noticed that he does in pubs a lot is if he gets left alone by the support and he's in a 2v1, then he will acid the wave just to kind of protect himself from the other 2 heroes. But because he has Fly here on the Veno protecting him, he doesn't do that. But I did feel like it was an important thing to note there. So upcoming here, I'd like to show what I think is actually a mistake from Arteezy. Yes, I'm actually going to call him out on something. But what I'm going to call him out here is on something that, you know, could have been a good play. So let me try to break down the what I think is the thought process of Arteezy here. So he's pushing this wave, he asses the wave, right? Okay. Now, it makes sense. It's like, I just want to get the last hits, right? Well, I don't actually think that's what it is. If we go back 10 seconds, you'll gain a little bit more context. Right here, the Phoenix is getting run down by Fly. The Nyx is pulling the wave, so Phoenix is in a 2v1. And Arteezy sees this Phoenix getting run through the trees. Now, he probably expects Phoenix to try to like juke through here and take the long way, but once again, Leslau, being the beast that he is, takes a good route and gets away. But if the Phoenix took the route you would expect him to take, which is like all the way around, this wave would get shoved into his tower, right? I'm talking about these creeps, the Phoenix last hits, would get shoved into his tower, and he would likely miss all of them. So I think that's what Arteezy was trying to do here. Shove in the wave and make them miss CS on our tower as they got chased. But unfortunately, the Phoenix made a good juke, and this situation was avoided. And the reason why I think this is a mistake is because it's not like there was an immediate pull from Fly. There was nothing that could get the wave back, and Arteezy doesn't have acid or even mana from acid, and so he ends up getting wrapped on by MSS here and put in an absolutely awful position, which forces him to TP out. Now, it was a good TV play, avoiding the first blood, very, very heads up, able to pop his salve, but at the end of the day, it ends up being quite a bad decision, quite a bad misplay from him that, you know, kind of just forced a little bit of extra HP regen and a TP out from Arteezy. The next thing I'd like to mention is the fact that he stays in lane. Okay, so this is a big one for me. It really is. This is something that I think, like, in 90% of games, people just get wrong. And frankly, I don't blame them. It's really hard to know when to leave the lane as a carry. How do you know when to get out and when to start jungling or go mid or to go top? I mean, it really is a difficult decision. But in this scenario, let's break it down. He's against the Phoenix, which is a hero that actually does put a lot of pressure. You know, Phoenix just does a lot of damage. His W, at this point in the game, if I'm not mistaken, is like, if you maximize it, it's like 800 damage if you maximize it, which is actually not necessarily that hard to do against a melee hero. But you can see Leslau doing here. He's kind of setting up on Arteezy, trying to bully him out of lane. Now Fly, being the smart support player that he is, comes over. When the fire spirits are committed, the support player shifts over, zones him out, which is awesome, right? And now Arteezy, you know, because he can do that, because he can acid in the wave, values it. He says, okay, the Nyx left, I can stay here. But in a lot of scenarios, in your average pub, how often does the position 4 leave the lane? I would say not that often. From my experience, it's not that often. And therefore, you're going to get bullied out, because it's going to be a scenario where the offlaner does not get left alone. Very often, a position 4 kind of just chills there, unless, you know, he TPs to another lane because they're getting dove. But that's, as I said, I don't think that's the majority of situations. And so here, as we're going to see, he continues to stay in the lane over and over and over again. But honestly, I don't think I like this too much. Like, just being honest, I really don't think I like this much at all. And the reason why I say that is I kind of prefer the idea that he just jungles. Now, maybe he feels that if he jungles, the Ember and the Nyx might gank him, but the reason why I don't like him playing here is I do kind of feel like it would be best if the Veno could get XP here, and if Arteezy could just straight up jungle. Literally jungling on Alk is almost as fast, if not faster in a lot of scenarios, than laning, because you can make stacks, and you don't have to be afraid of getting ganked, and you don't have to actually like worry about getting the last hit. And you can kind of see here, he's too afraid to lane, and so now he leaves. At about 840, he leaves. But in most Alk games, it's totally fine to leave when you're level 4, level 5, if you feel like you can't lane. So don't be afraid to do that, as he just straight up acids and kills this camp. And you know, another thing to note about jungling like this is kind of what we're going to see here, which is when you jungle, you're really close to the mid lane, regardless of what side of the map you're on, right? You're really, really close to the mid lane. And so in this case here, he's jungling. Abed shifts over, he reads the TP, and because of this, they pick up a kill. And you might be saying, oh, Speed, that's just because Abed's a god. Well, yeah, Abed is a god, but at the same time, when you jungle, you force the enemy team to play in a place of the map that is very easily defended. You can see Fly even threw up an Ops here to protect from this potential rotation. So for all you support players, if you have a hero like Alk, Naga, TV you think might get ganked in a jungle, throw up, you know, one defensive ward here. It's not even a necessity in a lot of games, just because players typically don't have the best awareness to, you know, read when people are going to the jungle like MSS did right away. But regardless, I like the idea that, okay, defending this bottom tower, number one, is quite useless, right? Think about it. What does this bottom tower defend? Nothing. It just doesn't defend anything. It doesn't do anything. Like, there are some niche scenarios where you defend it, and I'm still doing some research to really fully understand why people defend it, because sometimes pros do. But jungling is just efficient. Like, look what he's doing here. This acid spray trick with these two camps where you put it in between is so efficient. It is really so much farm. It's definitely more farm than pushing in lane creeps, and therefore I just like what he does here. Next up here is maybe the most advanced thing Arteezy does in this game, or one of the, that most players would just completely overlook. So let's break it down. What is this? Well, he's jungling. Now, you might be saying, really, is that its speed? Is it just jungling and stacking with acid? No, it's what's about to follow. Don't worry, it's not that simple. Okay, so as he's jungling here, you're going to notice he's going to shift over to the tri-camp. Okay, nothing too crazy here. He cleaned out the jungle. Very natural rotation. However, the first thing to note is that he currently doesn't see a large portion of Quincy crew. He doesn't know where they are, and so he actually, right here, is assuming that they might be up this hill. He's actually a bit careful about that. He doesn't know if they're here or not. So he sees the Ursa, he sees the Ember, but he doesn't see the Witch Doctor, the Phoenix, or the Nyx. And Witch Doctor, Phoenix, Nyx is more than enough to kill Arteezy if they catch him on the hill. So he's very hesitant to walk up, right? You can see he's literally sitting in the trees waiting for information. How many carry players do this? How many carry players do? Think about it. Probably almost none. If they want to farm the top triangle, and they think that's the next set of camps they should kill, they'll just beeline it to those camps because of efficiency. But when you get to the highest level, or when you're in any level and you suspect that they might be ganking you, you start to build that intuition that, oh, I might be getting ganked. Oh, I don't see them anywhere. I don't see the 3 heroes, the 3 active heroes. Well, even though Ember is active, 3 of the active heroes. I need to wait. Now, you can see Crit is going to go up first. Why? Because if Crit dies, alright, it is what it is. It is what it is. And now, they secure the area, they can make some stacks, they're going to get the bounty runes as well, and so it's a nice time for them to invade. You can see Quincy crew also is going to try to take a fight around the bounty runes, but I just wanted to show you guys that. Like, think about how substantial that is, how strong of an idea that is, that almost no one ever takes into account or just has the intuition to read. And now after that, it continues. He's going to farm the small camp, small camp, small camp. Okay, shows up, maybe can, contribute to this fight, gonna clean up this jungle, sees the Ursa mid, sees the Nyx kind of shifting through this area, and you're gonna quickly realize that he says, oh, I might be getting ganked here. They might be invading my jungle, which is crazy, right? It's crazy. What is he basing this off of, though? What information does he have that he's basing this off of? He sees the Witch Doctor here, right? So, after he cleans this up, and he's kind of in this area, he sees the Ursa, he sees the Nyx, he briefly sees the Witch Doctor, and I'm telling you, he is looking at the map. When I tell you guys, no one, almost no one, looks at the map enough, including pros, including Arteezy. People do not look at the map enough. He still looks at it probably 70 to 80% of the game. His eyes are like flickering between the minimap and the screen. And the other 20% is when he's team fighting. Even then, he's probably looking at the minimap quite a bit. But yeah, because he saw that, because he gained that bit of information, he says, okay, I did stack this camp, but they're probably here. And let's take a look where Quincy crew is. Well, Witch Doctor was here. And Witch Doctor could nearly solo kill him with a good cask plus a Nyx stun, which is not a solo kill, but you get the point, right? You get the point. He gets kicked out, has some patience. He says, okay, maybe we'll invade here with the team. So he is sort of going to bait here, which is what he does. He intentionally gets gone on there. And look how, like, I really want you guys to understand that this is what, when you're like, I don't know what I'm not doing. I don't know why I'm not the next rank. You're not ever making these plays. And you probably will never make these plays. And that sounds really cynical. It's like, Speed, why would you say that to your GameLeap viewers? That's really mean. Arteezy has like 15,000 games of Dota, okay? He knows, to a large extent, to an extremely high level, how much damage every hero does in combination with each other, whether or not he can survive it based on his items and their levels at that point in the game. And he knows when he needs to bait them. He reads their map movements. He's constantly looking at the minimap. And you put those things all together, and you get the best carry player in the world. That's what's hard about Dota. Because most carry players, if I put you in this game, would have died 4 or 5 times already. And to end off the video, we're going to look at 2 more engagements, and then we will call it there, because this video has actually been pretty long. It's been a lot of analysis, a lot of like very in-depth analysis, which I hope you guys appreciate. And I'll be doing more videos like this on the GameLeap website. So if you like this type of stuff, and you feel like, you want more of this exact type of content, definitely check out the website, because I do a lot more of this type of stuff over there. All right, let's get into this. So breaking it down, they pop a smoke. Couple things to note about the smoke that I think you guys can learn from. Number 1, it's really good for Ice not to be in the smoke. Yeah, you heard that correctly. not to be in the smoke. Why? Well, it does a couple things. Number one, he can push in the waves so that if they are able to complete a successful smoke gank, they can transition into a tower. Number two, Quincy crew, if they see Ice Ice Ice, will be a little less unnerved, right? They will be like, you know, they're showing someone, we're probably not getting ganked, right? We see the Timber. Now, at this high of a level, that's not like a guarantee that you're not getting smoke ganked, and I'm sure Quincy crew knows that, but it's like a psychology thing. If you see someone on the map, you kind of assume you're safe, right? At least I do. At least a lot of these players do. And so they smoke. They smoke without Ice Ice Ice, and he's going to try his best to make it not obvious. So you'll even see after he pushes in the wave, he's going to fake back. Because creep waves give lingering vision, right? So when you kill a creep wave, there's still vision. Let me show you what I mean. If I click on the Witch Doctor, you'll see he sees the Timber pushing in the wave. This is about when they smoke mid. He sees Timber, he sees Timber, he sees Timber. Look at Timber on the minimap. And I want you to tell me what you think Timber's doing after you see him pushing the wave. Look back, goes out of vision. What do you think Timber's doing? You assume he's just going to go back. He's going to go here or here, right? That's how these players play with your mind. And they do this in pubs. They trick you all the time. I do it in my pubs. Pros do it all the time in their pubs. This vision thing, just because of lingering vision. To show you exactly what I mean, when you kill a creep wave, what you'll notice is that even after it dies, there's still this like mini circle, right? And so Ice 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 knows this exists, so he waits till it's over. And this is the vision. This is the vision of the Witch Doctor, right? Boom. It ends. Now look what he does. I'm going to turn it around. This is right as it ends. It ends, turns around. You think he counts in his head? No, he just knows it. This is why these guys are pros, guys. Like, I mean it though. Like, isn't that kind of crazy, right? And that's something most players never will do. Never. And it's alright, now you can do it, because you're a GameLeap subscriber. But because of this, you're going to see a successful smoke gank. Yes, they are smoked right here. Unfortunately, it's a replay bug, so they do not look smoked. But they are smoked right now. And they're going to run up this hill, right? Because they saw Quincy crew was here. I think they saw the Ember top. Yeah, so they're like, okay, Ember's top. If we run into the triangle, we'll have a numbers advantage. So they just run into the triangle. Then Arteezy at the last second spots them. Remember, he's smoked. They do not know he's here. So he's going to run back up the hill just because he does not want to pop the smoke until he can get off a good bottle. Going to pop the smoke. Really nice stun. I think he hits both of them with it, if I'm not mistaken. He does. It's a beautiful stun onto two. They get the working onto the Ursa. He does BKB ulti, but obviously, even if he does get out here, it's an absolute disaster because he's BKB'd and ultied, and yeah, he will end up dying as well. And that's all. So yeah, just a really well-played smoke gank. Obviously, Quincy crew did not expect them to be on that hill because of Ice Ice Ice's positioning, and that is it's just like really cool. You know, you love to see that type of stuff from these players. But all right, let's look at one more fight and then call it. All right, let's take one last look at the last fight of the game and how he executes it. What vision does he have to allow him to jump properly with his unstable concoction? So let's take a look at the typical Alch execution. So fight breaks out, you pop your ulti. Sometimes you can charge concoction, then pop ulti a bit later just to save a bit of the duration, but it's really not that big of a deal. Then he's going to blink in. He's going to look for a good target. He kind of blinks poorly here, I'll be honest. Like, this ends up being just a bad blink, because what I mean by that is when you blink on Alch, you really want to make sure you blink concoction next to someone because you want to follow it up, right? It's that simple. You want to be able to follow it up. Now, in this case, he's going to blink in and throw it. I'm going back just to show you. He's going to blink in. I think he throws it at the Nyx. Oh no, he actually Abyssal blinks the Nyx, so he understands that if he Abyssal blinks the Nyx cannot do anything about it. They do not have any save as well, if I'm not mistaken. There is a Glimmer, but I believe they have detection. But yeah, they do have detection, so he's going to be able to pick up a quick Nyx kill, which is a big deal. This Nyx is such an integral part of this team fight at this point. You know, he's such a massive part of the lockdown. Without the Nyx, it's very hard for them to egg. It's very hard for Ember to go in. There's really no good stun for Ursa as well at that point. And so they kind of just clean him up. Ursa gets disarmed. He can't man up. Arteezy kites out. Even though he's full HP and Ursa's low, he kites out. Why? Because even if Ursa's low and he pops his ulti and you man up, you still could die. So he kites out, waits for the concoction to come back up. Really even takes the long route here. This is like the brain of like a Highmar player. They're so aware of every single thing that could grief them. And so what could grief him here? Why did he continue to kite out even when he started charging the bottle? Because he was afraid his blink would get canceled by Ember Slide. So he pops the bottle, and he, instead of running down at the person he wants to blink at, he runs up here because he knows that the Slight might cancel his blink and force him into a bad spot. But once he sees that the Ember gets put in a weird scenario and the egg pops, he goes back in. Ursa's the most important kill at this point with no ulti, no BKB. And so they win the fight. Very, very well done from Arteezy. A beautiful engagement overall. Hope you guys enjoyed that video and that very deep analysis on Arteezy, you gotta love deep analysis, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.